Late in the 18th century, a group known as the Jacobins, who brought about the French Revolution, said they were seeking to establish what they called a New World Order. Colonel Mandell House, the chief advisor to President Wilson, was his hope of establishing a New World Order during World War I. Nicholas Murray Butler, before the Union League of Philadelphia on November 27, 1915. The old world order died with the setting of that day's sun, and a new world order is being born.
Thus, the New Templars are the beginning of a new order.
Adolf Hitler, National Socialism, will use its own revolution for the establishing of a new world order.
The rally in September 1934 celebrated the new order.
The Death's Head unit of the SS carried out the systematic extermination of human beings as the first step towards the new order in Europe.
A hurrah to the new order, community of the people. Everyone was brought into line with the new order. Gleich shout of unification. For the spirit of a new order.
To a new order.
This is Hitler's new order. Berlin, they drew up the Axis Pact, the blueprint of the new order.
Establish a new order in Europe.
Its total image, however, will be like a holy order.
Sir Winston Churchill declared the creation of an authoritative world order.
How the order creates war and revolution in this, but the order is created and controlled for its own insidious purposes. In the order, when and why the order helped create and build the Soviet Union from the ground up to a world power. He documents the order's financing of Hitler and the Nazis. Members of the order have been instrumental in the preventing and the financing of wars and revolution.
Robert Kennedy, the former U.S. Attorney General in 1967, a new world order. In October 1967, Richard Nixon was of a new world order. He brought to China that both nations share an interest in peace and building a new world order.
To build a new world order.
On July 26, 1968, the Associated Press reported that New York Governor Nelson A. Rockefeller says as president he would work toward international creation of a new world order.
Well, what are they trying to do? Well, their objective is to try to bring about a gradual transition in our society, a dissolving of sovereignty. Well, I would say the International Monetary Fund has certainly been set up for the purpose of facilitating that transfer of sovereignty and transfer of wealth. But you are looking at a group that has worked to bring about the dissolution of national sovereignty on the road to world government.
In the New World Order, it means New World Order. More specific, Novus Ordo Seclorum, that means the New World Order and the New World Order. We're about to see this New World Order translate into a political system of world communism and fascism. And this is why Hitler used the term New World Order, as well as Gorbachev.
Well, Hitler's second book, the one after Mein Kampf, was entitled The New World Order. Ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer, one world, one race, one ruler.
New World Order. That world order is only going to be enhanced if this newly activated peacekeeping function of the United Nations, the New World Order, will be enhanced. Our success in the goal will shape not only the New World Order we see.
A few times has Clinton actually mentioned the term New World Order, but you know what he did the day after the inauguration on the front page of the Los Angeles Times, January 21? He said, I, like George Bush and many of our predecessors, am dedicated to the Novus Ordo Seclorum, means New World Order.
After 1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
A lot happened on his watch that was very, very positive towards a new world order.
Walter Cronkite, a system of world order, preferably a system of world government, is mandatory. Yield up their precious sovereignty.
The Norman Cousins Global Governance Award of Walter Cronkite. World government is the structure necessary for global justice.
Those advocates who work for world peace by urging a system of world law and order, world government, of course we Americans are going to have to yield up some of our sovereignty. Today we must develop federal structures on a global level to deal with world problems. We need a system of enforceable world law, a democratic federal world government, 200 sovereignties in our global village, all of which are going to have to be convinced to give up some of that sovereignty to the better, greater union. Most important, we should sign and ratify the Treaty for a Permanent International Criminal Court. Their leader, Pat Robertson, has written in a book a few years ago that we should have a world government, but only when the Messiah arrived. He wrote, any attempt to achieve world order before that time must be the work of the devil. Well, join me. Glad to sit here at the right hand of Satan.
Hillary, Madam Clinton.
Good evening and congratulations, Walter, on receiving the World Federalist Association's Global Governance Award. We honor you for fighting for the way it could be. We honor you for lending your voice to the cause of human rights around the world and for your lifelong commitment to international human rights law.
The destruction of the American standard of living in order to create a new world order. Trilateral paper number 14, entitled Towards a Renovated International System, stated, quote, disparities in conditions between political entities can create obstacles for attempts to achieve a more effective world order.
James Warburg of the Council on Foreign Relations, while speaking to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee on February 17, 1950, we shall have world government.
It's a new world order, but it's the global order of the new world order. It's a new political order of globalization. World order that globalization brings and economic power that we see around us in this new world order. A new world order,
But really a new world order can be created.
Build the new world order of the 21st century.
I think even that is not described why the world has changed so much and why the world has turned so much toward a new world order and a new kind of civilization.
Gorbachev, we need a new world order.
An international order. And so it will be the emergence of a new international order. Really a new world order can be created.
a new world order. It's a new world order.
New world order.
In 1992, Strobe Talbot, President Clinton's Deputy Secretary of State, in the next century, nations as we know it will be obsolete. All states will recognize a single global authority. National sovereignty wasn't such a great idea after all. Robert Mueller, former Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations. We must move as quickly as possible to a one-world government, a one-world religion, under a one-world leader. In 1976, a new document surfaced that was called the Declaration of Interdependence. It was signed by 32 U.S. senators and 92 representatives in Washington, D.C. It read, "Join with others to bring forth a new world order." And Henry Kissinger, in an address before the United Nations in 1975, said, "Let us fashion together a new world order." In 1994, Kissinger stated that the new world order cannot happen without U.S. participation. Yes, there will be a new world order. Also, before the United Nations in 1979, Cuban dictator Fidel Castro said, "We must establish a new world order." Mikhail Gorbachev, the former leader of the Soviet Union, "We are moving toward a new world order, the world of communism."
That all nations, including the United States, carry out this transfer to a point where no state would have the military power to challenge the progressively strengthened United Nations Peace Force. This is merely part of the overall plan to resolve our conflict with communism, not by victory over it, but by merging with it into a world body. Since it will have superior military force at its disposal, it will become, by definition, a one-world government.
Видеть и понять корни того, что мир развернулся в своем движении в другом направлении, к новому мировому порядку, к новой цивилизации.
Even that does not describe why the world has changed so much and why the world has turned so much toward a new world order and a new kind of civilization.
President George Bush Sr. before the United States Congress in 1991. A new world order. Congressman Larry P. McDonald, the drive of the Rockefellers and their allies is to create a one-world government. Arthur Schlesinger Jr. in a July-August 1995 issue of Foreign Affairs said, "We are not going to achieve a new world order without paying for it in blood." H.G. Wells, also a member of a controversial group known as the Fabian Socialist Society, titled The New World Order, published in 1939. In it he states, "Countless people will hate the New World Order and will die protesting against it." Ralph Epperson compared the New World Order to George Orwell's 1984, that best summarized what the New World Order had in store for the world when he wrote, "If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face."
Britain enhances its competitiveness in the process, realizes what I believe is our destiny of success in this new world order. It is a new world order.
There is a chance the President of the United States to use this disaster to carry out what his father, a phrase his father used, and that is a new world order.
The necessity for a new world order.
In creating the kind of a world order, a world order, a world order, a world order, a world order.
Concerning the signing of the Patriot Act, Representative Peter D. Fazio, Democrat from Oregon, has this to say about how they snuck in a different version or copy which no one in Congress had the opportunity to even read.
Give us a weekend to read it, and let's take it up Monday morning. Hey, I'll come in and vote at 7 o'clock on Monday morning if it's that urgent. This is still warm. It just came off the Xerox machine. This isn't the bill. It was adopted by a unanimous 36 vote of the Judiciary Committee. These are our civil liberties.
To use this disaster to carry out what his father, a phrase his father used, I think, only once, and hasn't been used since, and that is a new world order.
One of the most serious mistakes the president could make would be to weaken the Constitution. Senator J. William Fulbright of Arkansas says the American Constitution is nothing more than a product of the 18th century agrarian society. It is now obsolete, he claims. Senator Joseph S. Clark of Pennsylvania says the separation of powers with its checks and balances must be curtailed because they keep the president from making quick and decisive decisions. Gus Hall, head of the Communist Party USA, agrees with these two senators. America's national sovereignty should be abandoned, according to Walt Rostow, chairman of the Senate of the State Department Policy Planning Board. He has boldly demanded, quote, an end of nationhood as it has been historically defined.
The American people had to stand up and stop this nonsense, this direction from a group of elites in absolute contravention of our law, of our Constitution, every national value. And I hope, I pray that I'm right when I said yes.